Hi guys, good evening. So yes, hopefully everybody is here, and hopefully you are able to see me, hear me, and also see the screen. So let's go ahead and get started with the session. So there are two major parts that we need to discuss today. The first is regarding the submissions, right? So again, I hope that you have submitted the abstracts as mentioned, right? I hope that now the teams are also ready and you are ready to start working on the projects, right? In the past two sessions, which is 22 and 23, I have been talking about how to set up the project, how to create the project report, and all of those things. So again, if you miss that out, make sure you go back to the recording and you take care of those instructions, because I've given you a sample design, I have given you sample document, I have walked you through the whole thing, right? So I hope that that is done. Now, the next step for us today is to talk about how do we take the code that we have written and how do we deploy it. Okay, how do we put it online? So what I will be doing is I will be walking you through deployment process today, and I will also try to share authentication resources today. Okay, so I'll tell you what authentication is, I'll tell you which package we use for the backend, and I'll try to walk you through how to create authentication logic as well. So those are the two primary goals that we have for today's session. Okay. Again, I will not be sending individual abstracts to anybody. I will not be sending any link to anybody. Everything is there in one repository. And I've been saying this for 24 sessions now. So I don't think I need to repeat that again, right? If you just go to our repository, you have everything over there. Okay. So if you see this repository, over here in the links, abstract sample is also there. The project sample, the report sample is also there under session 10. Okay. So everything that you need for creating your project, including 90% of the code, it is already available over here, right? All the way from software installation instructions. And today I have also added these additional references for you. So there is a reference video for React mini project. So it will show you how to create an entire project in React. There is another reference for Express.js project. So again, this will show you how to set up Express.js, how to create endpoints, the whole thing. And then I've also added one more video on MongoDB. So this will show you how to create the database, how to connect it with the backend, and how to interact with the backend. And so these are longer videos, approximately 30 minutes each. Okay, every single one of these videos is approximately 30 minutes each. And I've tried to give you a very good idea of the whole setup. Okay, so again, I recommend that you try going through these videos in case you face any issues, right? So when you start working on the project, or even otherwise, if you want to explore these concepts again, what you can do is just go through them in one sequence. So watch the React video first, then watch the Express video, and then watch the MongoDB video, right? So that way you will get a quick summary of everything that we've been talking about for 24 sessions. Okay. So again, these are longer videos. So this will require about 1.5 hours for you to watch all of these videos. But I recommend that you do this so that you get a very good understanding of how everything works together. Okay. I will be adding one more video for this tomorrow. So I'll add one more link over here, which will be on deployment. So I will show you deployment today, but tomorrow I will add a quick video on that as well, so that you don't have to go back to the recording and try to find where it was covered. You have direct access to those things. Okay. So one more video will be added by tomorrow on deployment also. Okay. So again, I have also added all the other recordings as well. You can see up till the previous session. I have added all recordings as well. And yes, so the repository is up to date with the code and everything. The final code, I will add it today after today's session. I will add that code as well. I will call it final project. Okay. So I will add that as well. So yes, this is the update on the repository. Again, everything here is up to date. I will be sharing this link on the in the chat again. I will also show this to you on the screen. Okay. So please make sure that you have this link with you. Everything that you need with respect to the sessions, recordings, projects, report, abstract, sample, reference material, everything is available within this repository itself. Okay. So please make sure that you have this repository. I have given the link in the chat. The link is also on the screen. If you are not able to get it from the chat, take a screenshot, do whatever, take a photo, right? Do whatever you want, but make sure you have the link with you. Okay. This is your ultimate reference point. And I'm also adding the same on YouTube chat as well. So I think YouTube links are not clickable directly. So again, please take a screenshot and you can then type it and open it in the browser. I don't really know how to make a clickable link on YouTube. Okay. Again, I am not answering the abstract questions. Okay. I have already answered those yesterday and the links have been sent. Different people are saying different things in the chat. Some people are saying I got the link, I was unable to submit. Some people are saying the link is not received. So the link has been sent. Okay. I know that for sure. The link has been sent. Okay. And yes. So yes, I have again. So please write an email to support email, and they will help you with the project related things. I really can't help with that. Okay. So the update that I have received is that the abstract links have been sent to all of you. And another update that I received also was that the abstract submission was yesterday only. So today also we are out of time. Abstract was already required by yesterday. So it's already been delayed by 1 day. So again, you can drop an email to the support, um, right? Support team. If you have not received it, again, drop a message there. They will help you because it is supposed to be on an email. I don't have a link that I can share with you. So it must be done through email only. Okay. So yes, you can reach out to the support team for all of those things. But more importantly, please make sure you have access to this repository. And again, I really recommend that you spend some time going through these references because once you go through this, you will have a very good understanding about how to approach your project. Okay. So spend some time watching this. It will give you a quick refresher of everything that we have done over 2 months. So I have tried to pack 2 months in 2 hours in a way so that you get a quick understanding. Of course, I cannot cover every concept or every topic, but I've tried to cover the setup for everything. Okay. So you should be able to get a good understanding of everything by watching these. I'll upload another one which is on deployment tomorrow. But now what I want to do next is I want to spend the next 15-20 minutes walking you through the process of deployment. Okay. So basically the term deployment refers to taking whatever we have built on our system and putting it online, okay, putting it live. So there are two steps that we have to do for this. Okay. Number one, we have to make a GitHub repository. And number two, we have to use a platform called Netlify. So I'll walk you through both of these things step by step. Okay. The very first thing that you have to do is in the previous session, the abstract discussion is in the previous session. I have never given you the abstract submission link. I cannot do that. That will be sent to your email. What I have given you in the repository is a sample abstract. So if you go to the repository, you will find abstract sample. So make sure you scroll down. When you scroll down, you will find all of these links. So abstract sample is available. It looks like this. So this is what you can use to create a sample as a reference point. Okay. But yes, so two steps for deployment. Step one, we have to create a GitHub repository. Step two, we have to deploy this. Now, everybody, like one repository per group will be enough. Okay, one repository per group is going to be enough. You don't need to create, like everybody does not need to create a repository. One repository per group will be enough. Okay. And again, one deployment link per group will be enough. You don't need to create deployment links individually, right? So now you will have to go to github.com. Okay. And once you sign up, if you don't have an account, this is what it looks like. So you can go ahead and sign up from here. You can sign up by Google, or you can use their email, email based login. This will again ask you for certain questions like, are you a student? What do you want to use GitHub for? You can just answer them quickly. And after you sign up, you come here. Okay, after you sign up, this is where you reach. Now, the first step is to create a new repository. So in simple terms, a GitHub repository is nothing but a folder on GitHub. Just like we create a project folder on our system, we create a repository on GitHub. Okay. So for this, we have to go to the new button. You can see it over here. It is on the top left. So we can click on the new button. This brings up the create a repository interface. Over here, you can mention the repository name. So for example, I am calling it IIDT final project. Okay, so this is the name of my repository. The second thing is you have to keep it public. Okay, make sure that your repository is public. If it is private, it would mean nobody can access it and your code will not work. The deployment will not work. So make sure you keep it public. Okay, it's the default selection, so just don't change it. Keep it to public and that's it. So just add the name and then go ahead and create repository. Now, when you add the name here, we cannot use spaces. Okay, so again, if I just write a space, it will automatically, you can see, it will automatically remove the space with a dash. Okay, so that's basically the idea. So we don't put spaces in the name. Okay, we just have to use dashes like so. And it will say this is available. As long as there is no other repository within your account with that name, it will be available. Then on the bottom right, we have the create repository button. We can go ahead and click on that. So once we create a repository, it brings us to this interface. Now this is really important. I don't. So if you want to use Git and GitHub in your project, please feel free to do that. But the first thing that you should do right here at this point is add collaborators. Okay, this is very important. So what you can do is probably the team lead, whoever is the team lead in your team, they can create the repository and then they can add you to the repository. Okay, so this is for the team leads. If you are a team lead, please create the repository and then you can add everybody else from your team as a collaborator to that repository. So it's very simple. You have to click on invite collaborators. Okay, this might ask you to just log in again. And as soon as you do that, it is going to then show you a prompt. Okay, you can say you haven't invited any people yet. So add people. And here you have to either type their email or their GitHub username. So I have another account with this name. Okay, you can see my photo shows up. I can click on that and just add to this repository. Now, when you do this, the other person will get an email and they have to follow the steps in the email in order to get access to the repository. They basically have to accept your invite. Okay, so they basically have to just accept your invite, right? This is the process. Okay, you can see now one has access to this and one invitation. So once I go ahead and I accept this invitation, then I will also have access to this repository. Okay, this is really important. So again, once you create the repository, the first step is to add everybody to this repository. Make sure you add them before adding any other files or folders. That way, they will have access to everything as well. Okay, again, this is a one-time setup. Please do it very carefully. So step one, you create a repository. Step two, you add collaborators to the repository. After you do that, then you can go ahead and click on this option, which says uploading an existing file. Now, at this point, I am assuming that your project work is completed. Okay, I am assuming that your project is completed and it is ready to be deployed. Okay, so assuming that your code is ready, you can click on this button which says uploading an existing file. This pulls up another panel where you have to drag files. So now let me open the folder and from there we can go ahead and drag the files. So give me a minute. I'll just go back to the code that we had written over here. So I'll show you front end and then similarly you can do back end also, but I'll just show you front end. It's the same process. So I'm opening the folder and then now in the repository, you will have two folders, front end and back end. So you can just make sure you remove the node modules. Okay. So typically when you create a new project, you will have a node modules folder as well. Like this one, node modules. This has to be deleted from the front end also. It has to be deleted from the back end also. Okay. So make sure you delete node modules from both front end and back end. Then you can go ahead, you can drag it and drop it in the repository. That's it. So just drag the folder and drop it. If you try to upload node modules folder, you will get an error at this point. It will tell you something like too many files or folder too big. Okay. So make sure you delete node modules both from the front end also and from the back end also. Then commit changes, and this will now get our code onto GitHub. Okay, so very simple. We just have to drag and drop everything that you have written and it will be updated or uploaded on your repository. Done. As you can see, we now have two folders. We have front end and back end. So if you open front end, you will find all the front end code, source contains components, and all of those things are now available. Similarly, back end will contain only one file, index.js, and this is where we have written the backend logic. So this is also done. Okay. Now, the next thing is to deploy this. The reason we have created a GitHub repository is because the deployment will happen directly from GitHub. Okay. The deployment will happen directly from GitHub. So now for deployment, there are a lot of options that we have, but I'm going to use a platform called Netlify. Okay. Again, I will put these links in the repository as well. So don't worry about the links. I'll add the Netlify link also in that reference section. Okay. So here I've also given it in the chat also. For YouTube Live also, I'm pasting the link in the chat. So in case you want to save it now, you can save it, but I will also add it to the repository along with the final code. Okay. So don't choose your individual files. On GitHub, you will have two options. You can drag, because when you choose individual files, you can only choose one file at a time. So it will take a lot of time to individually upload everything. So just drag and drop. It is faster. Okay. Now we are on to Netlify. Here I'm going to quickly log in. And you don't have to actually sign up. What you can do is you can directly sign up with GitHub or log in with GitHub. Okay, so it's very simple. Sign up with GitHub. This will take you to GitHub. And I already have an account, so it's automatically logged in for me. It will just take you to GitHub. It will say authorize, just like we have signed in with Google. It's the same setup. So just say approve and done. Okay. So this is your account. I already have a few projects, if you, as you can see. But what you have to do is add new site. So click on add new site and then choose this one, import an existing project. Okay, import an existing project. This gives us options. So we have to obviously choose deploy with GitHub. So I will click on that. This will then open GitHub. It will check for authorization, and then it gives us a list of all the repositories that we have. So you can choose the repository from the list. You can see here it has access to these repositories, and we can choose it from the list. So I'm going to choose IIDT final project. Okay, and then save it. Once you do that, it will show that over here. You can see IIDT final project. It is now showing up on Netlify. Okay. Let me show you this process one more time. Okay. So if I go back to the home screen, add new site, import an existing project, deploy with GitHub. This will then check if GitHub is approval or not. And then you can choose this button, configure the app on GitHub. This will show you the repositories that Netlify has access to. You can select the repository which you have just created. I've already selected it, IIDT demo, and save it. Once you save it, it will show up in this list. You can see IIDT final project. It is showing up for me. Okay, done. Now, then you can see a couple of different options. This is very important. Okay. So again, we are not changing anything. If you want to put a site name, you can put it. I will not put anything. So it will give me a dummy value. Okay. Then this base directory, this is important. Okay. Here you have to put front end. This basically means within your GitHub repository, where is your code? where is the code that you want to deploy. So that is in my front end folder. Okay, that's it. Just put front end over there. The rest of it is all good. Then you can click on this button which says deploy IIDT final project. To deploy the backend in a similar way, what you will do is you will just choose backend. So that way it will choose the backend folder and make Express application instead of React application. So now you can see it says site deploy in progress, and we can actually check the steps. If I just click on that, it will show us step by step what it is currently trying to do. Okay. They also have this game here if you want to experiment with it. It's a pretty time pass game that they have created. So you can try that out if you want. But more importantly, it has now started a deployment. As you can see, it is making sure that everything is properly available. Now it is installing the NPM packages, right? So it will take 2 to 3 minutes. It could also take up to 5 minutes because your project will contain more features and more screens. So it could take a little longer as well, but typically within 5 to 10 minutes, it is typically completed. Now, once this is complete, what it will do is it will give us a URL. Okay. So you can see this is done. Building is complete, deploying is complete, cleanup is complete, everything is complete. And you can see the files as well. You can see the public source, all of this is now showing up. And then at the top, you can see it says open production deploy. Once I click on this, it should load up over here. Okay, it should load up over here. So it might take a few minutes for this to work, but this is the process. Okay, this is the process. You can also say permalink, and this will also give you the link to your application. So this link is what you have to submit. Okay, it will take a few minutes for it to, it will take a few minutes for it to show up, but you have to submit this link. Okay, this link, so that I can check your outputs without having to run your code. So you have to submit three things. One, you have to submit the project report. Number two, you have to submit the GitHub repository link, which is this link at the top. Okay, github.com/username/repository name, this one. And three, the actual deployment link. Okay, the actual deployment link. Now, there is another alternative. If you want to, what you can do is instead of creating one repository, you can create two separate repositories. Okay. So there are some cases where it might not work in both. Like if you put both front end and back end together, there are some cases where it might not work. So in this case, what we can do is you can create two separate repositories. So for example, I can create IIDT project front end. So I can create a front end. Similarly, I can create a back end. So IIDT final project front end, IIDT final project back end. You can create two separate repositories. If you're creating two repositories, make sure you add team members to both. Okay. If you are creating two repositories, make sure you add team members to both. So I'll take the front end code. Let me put that in. Okay, then we can commit. Done. Now this repository can be connected. So let's go back to our home page and then let us create a new site again. So add new site, import an existing project, deploy with GitHub. It will check for authorization. That is done. Then we have to add this repository. So again, configure. From the list, I will choose front end. Okay, I have chosen that. Save it. Now it should show up on Netlify. So IIDT final project front end. I'm choosing that. This time, since the code is directly here, we don't have to actually write anything in the base directory. We can let it be. Then we can just go ahead and deploy. So this should take care of the deployment for us, and it will give us a link. So in some cases, it works in the previous setup. In some cases, it might not. So if it does not work like that, then you can create two individual repositories. So then submit both the links, once for front end, once for back end. Okay. So again, let's wait for a minute for this to deploy, and that should give us the output. So again, for the submission purposes, you can submit only front end. I mean, you can deploy only front end. You don't need to deploy the back end. Okay. The back end should be available on GitHub. I should be able to see the code. But for deployment, you can only deploy front end. Okay. So I can run the back end locally on my system and check it. So what you need to do is deploy the front end and give GitHub repositories for both front end also and back end also. Right. I hope that is clear. Okay, so now it is creating the build for us. And again, it will take a minute or two and it should get the whole thing done. It does it pretty quickly, and done. Now let's open it up. And you can see this time it is actually working for us. Right? You can see the output is directly available. And this is what we are looking at. Right? So what I recommend you do is create two separate repositories, one front end, one back end, because this gave us the output in one go itself. And you can submit this permalink. So it will be something like this. Okay. And then .netlify.app. This will be the end URL. Okay. So again, you have to submit three things: the project report, the GitHub links, and the deployment links. So for GitHub, I'm expecting two links, one for the front end code, one for the back end code. And then for deployment, I'm expecting a single link for the front end. You do not have to deploy the back end. Okay? You do not have to deploy the back end. You can only deploy the front end and this will work. Now, if I just go back to VS Code and let's just start our server, I think the front end is connecting to localhost and that is why nothing is showing up, right? So let's see where we are getting it. Yes, localhost, right? So let us actually run the backend quickly. So let's cd, and I think we're already on the backend. Let me just start it. Okay, let's open up a new terminal here and then cd backend and then npm start. So now once the backend will start running, oh yes, first I have to install those packages. I deleted node modules. So without it, it will not work. Done. Now our backend is running. Now, if I go back and reload my output, it will connect to the backend and you can see the data also starts coming up, right? So again, this I will do locally for backend. I will run the backend locally. What you need to do is you have to deploy the front end. Okay. So again, you need to submit the following things. I'll quickly add it again to the repository itself because I just want to keep everything in one place for you. Okay. So I'll just add those instructions directly within the repository itself. So, okay, I will add uh, submission details. Okay, number one, we need the project report. Okay, obviously this is the first thing. The project report will obviously contain the abstract internally. Okay, within the report, abstract will be there. Then we need two GitHub links. Okay, so one for front end and one for back end. Two separate repositories need to be created. And then the third thing is Netlify deployment URL for front end. Okay, done. I'll also add the Netlify URL. Okay, so that you have that as well. So Netlify for deployment. Okay, and let me just get that. And I will add it over there. Okay, netlify.com, done. Commit changes and done. So now in the repository, I've updated what all needs to be submitted. So project report, two GitHub links, and Netlify deployment URL for front end. Okay, there should be no further questions on this. I hope this is absolutely clear. Okay, so that I've also added the Netlify URL in case you're looking for that. Again, the everything that you need is here. References are there, abstract sample is there, submission details are there, Netlify is there. The sample project report is also there. It is in that this thing, session 10. So within session 10, you have the sample project report. Okay. I cannot upload a PDF outside. That is why I have added it here. I cannot add a link to the PDF. I'll have to put it as a Google Doc. So it's available within session 10. Let me add a comment for that as well. So again, I don't want to leave any confusion here. If you just read this repository, you should understand exactly what needs to be done. So sample project report is available in session 10 project talk folder. Okay, I've added this as well. So no confusion at all. You will know exactly where everything is. Okay. So in session 10 project talk folder, comment and comment. Okay. So now sample project report is also available. The references are also available and the submission details are also available along with all the recordings and the code. Okay. And everything that we have written. So I think this is more than enough material for you, right, to create a project. This is more than enough that you will need. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. Yes. So the mentors again will be assigned to you shortly. I have a call with them, I think today, tonight or tomorrow. Once I connect with the mentors and I explain them what exactly are you guys going to build, then they will be assigned to you. Okay. So I'll be connecting to them soon, today or tomorrow. So by Monday, you can expect the mentors as well. So once you have the abstract submitted, then we'll allocate mentors as well. Okay. Other final thing that we need to know before we discuss authentication is that from the next session onwards, which is from Monday onwards, which is the 1st of April, we are not going to discuss the project. Okay. I mean, I will not discuss anything new. Everything that you need, everything that we had to discuss in order for you to be able to build the project has already been discussed. Okay. We have talked about the front end, back end, database, deployment, everything. I've also given you references for everything. So it is all there. I think you have more than enough. From Monday, what we are going to do is we are going to start with our revision sessions. Okay. So for 1 month, for the entire month of April, what we are going to do is we are going to have revision sessions. Okay. We are going to have revision sessions. So how the revision sessions will work, right, is that we will start from the very first technology, which is HTML, and we'll run through all the topics quickly. So for the revision sessions, I'm going to first cover the topic and then build a mini project in every session. Okay. So if we cover HTML in one session, we'll make a mini project in HTML. If we cover CSS, we'll make a mini project in CSS. That is going to be the approach for revision sessions. Okay. That is going to be the approach for revision sessions. Another thing is in the revision sessions, the last 15 minutes, the last 15 minutes of every revision session will be open for questions. What that means is if you have any doubts or questions, or if you're facing any errors regarding the project, you can ask it then. Okay. So I will be available. I will give you screen sharing access. I will give you mic access, whatever you require. You can tell me what the issue is that you're facing, and I will try to help you. Of course, the mentors will be there to help you on a daily basis, but still in the session days, that's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I will keep the last 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes in every session, so that whatever doubts or questions you might have, you can get them cleared during that time. Okay. So in a way, I will also be available as a mentor for your project for the entire month of April. The deadline for the project is going to be April end. Okay. So April last week is the deadline for the project, and hopefully we'll try to create it by then. So again, the revision sessions are going to focus on a bunch of a bunch of different things. So starting from HTML all the way to MongoDB again, but we'll do them with projects. Okay, we'll do them with mini projects. That again, I'll share the code for that as well. No problem. But yes, so that is the idea. Okay. Now the next thing that we have to discuss, right, are a couple of resources that I want to share with you, which will help you create the project or which will help you build the project. Okay. So regarding the abstracts, again, I think the deadline has been extended to Monday. and the team is sending out emails again. So again, just hold on for some time, probably, right? And you will receive emails, and the deadline is by Monday, by April 1st. Okay. Again, the abstract sample is available on the in the repository. So please check it out from there. The repository link is in the on the screen continuously. So please take it and go through everything that is mentioned in the references. If you've already submitted the abstract, that is great, right? Thank you so much. Well done. But yes, if you haven't received the link yet, don't worry. The team is working on it. You will get it soon. Okay. Now, in the next 5 minutes, what I quickly want to do is I want to share a couple of extra resources with you, which I might have shared here and there in the session, that will be really useful for you to develop your projects. Okay. So I will add them to the repository later, but I want to walk you through them so that you have them ready when you need them. Okay. These are simple things that a lot of people, don't really do well, especially in terms of design, in terms of choosing colors, choosing fonts, all those kind of things. Okay. So in the next 5 minutes, I'll quickly share some 5, 6 resources with you. Please pay attention to the screen. Okay. I'll walk you through them quickly, one by one. The very first resource that we are starting off with is for colors. Okay. So there is something called colorhunt.io. Again, I will add these links to the repository. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now, the first link, I think they've changed the whole thing. Let me just Google it. I think the URL was incorrect. Yes. So this is the one, colorhunt.co. colorhunt.co. If you want to note it down, you can note it down. I will add it to the repository as well. Now, this particular resource is a very important one to pick a nice looking color palette. So as personally, before I started designing myself, I was not really good at choosing color combinations, right? So since you're making a project, everything needs to look neat and tidy. Everything needs to look like it is a part of the same thing, right? So it should not happen that all of you choose different colors at random, which is why this resource is going to be useful for you. Okay. It is colorhunt.co. So in Color Hunt, what you can do is on the left, you have new palettes, popular palettes. You have some filters. You can choose those. Okay. Otherwise, what you can do is you can choose a color up top. So you can choose from this list. Let's say I choose this navy color. So what it will do is it will basically then show me all palettes that have that particular color. Okay, I think this one is good. I really like this one. Okay. You can also see how popular it is. So some 2000 people like this one, right? Some 4000 people like this one. This is also really nice. This one's also nice. Also, you will notice that when you hover over these colors, you will find their hex codes. And we already know what to do with these hex codes, right? So these are colors that look good together. So what I suggest is before you start styling your project, please pick a few colors from here. Okay. So pick a color palette, copy these hex codes and keep them on your system. And then you can use it whenever you want. So this is the first resource for finding color palettes. The second resource that I have for you is to find icons. So in a lot of cases, when we make a project, we want icons, right? Let's say we are making a to-do list, we are making some about us, some company features, something like that. We need icons. A very good resource for that is this one, flaticon.com. Flaticon.com. Here you can go to icons. And what I suggest is use one of these icon packs so that all your icons look good together. Okay. So let me search for technology, for example. So once I search for technology, what I can also do is I can filter it by pack. Okay. So you can see here group by, we can choose pack. In the right hand side, there is a group by option. Go to pack. This way, you will see packs that are available. So let us say we pick this pack. Now, all icons in this pack, as you can see, look very similar. Okay, so this is a really nice place to get some really good looking icons. And since you use everything from a pack, it will be available. It will look same. The consistency will be maintained. Similarly, you can see this one. It's really nice. Look at these icons. They're really nice and they all look similar. So even if you're using them in different parts of the page, they still look the same, right? So similarly, if you have e-commerce, you can look for a store, for example, and then again group it by a pack. So here you will find some really good looking options as well. You can see this has some promo sales, free, shopping cart, plus minus, all of those things, right? You can see this is cart icon. This is, discount icon. Then this is remove a product from the cart. There will be another one for adding a product. This is payment, completion, checkout. So there's some really nice looking icons. You can also use individual icons as well, and you can find packs as well. Typically, try to look for free icons. So there are some free icons, there are some paid icons. Try to find the free ones. Okay. So this is your flat icon. Then the next resource is for images. So for images, you can go to Unsplash, UNSPLASH, unsplash.com. This is a very handy website to find camera photos. Okay. So again, let us say that you want product. You're making an e-commerce website and you want some product photos. You can find some really good photos here, as you can see. So if you're making a tech product website, you can see there's a watch, there's a camera, there's a glass, maybe smart glasses, and you can find some really good looking products on this one. Really good looking camera shots on this one. You can search for anything. You can also search for store, and this will give you some really nice images for store. So for an e-commerce background, probably you can use something like this. So there are a lot of these good looking images. You can see store, right? So really good looking camera shots available on this one. This is Unsplash, unsplash.com. Then there is another resource for vectors. So vectors are those sketches, right? Those graphic sketches. If you're looking for that, then you can go to free pick. Again, I will add these resources to the repository as well, but I'm just quickly walking you through them. So there's something called freepick.com. Okay, you can go to vectors here. They have other things also, but not as good. They specialize in vectors. Again, these are free to use. So you can search. Okay, let's search for, again, let's say e-commerce, for example. So I can search for that. And again, you can see we have some really, really nice looking vectors, something like this. And you can directly download it from here. You can see there are some options available as well. And you can find some really good designs. Just click on download and free download, and that's it. You can use it as a normal image on your website. Okay. Again, you can see there's some really, really nice vectors available. So again, some of them are free. This one's not free. It's a premium one. But the one I showed you earlier was free. You can see this crown, right? This crown indicates whether it is free or not. So vectors basically are graphics, like this one. These are vectors where we have these cartoon figures. They are called, basically we call them vectors. Camera photos are called photos, and then icons are called icons. So when I say vectors, I mean these sketches, right? Human figures or everything you do with a paint application, that is typically a vector. Again, this is a free one. You can use this as well. Just download and free download, right? So these are all of the resources that I have for you. Okay. So again, I have given you resources for color palette. I've given you resources for icon, images, vectors. Okay. For all of these, I have given you resources now. These are some things that a lot of people struggle with in the beginning, right? Where do you find photos, which icons to use, which color combination to choose? So hopefully these resources help you with that. Okay. So yes, I hope this will also help, and I will add these to the repository as well. Okay. The final resource that I have for you is to generate some dummy content. Because again, I don't want you to add actual product descriptions. That will take a lot of time. So for that, we have something called lipsum.com. That is loremipsum.com. Okay. Short for short for that is Lipsum, Lipsum. So once you come here, you can see there is an option here. You can choose how much dummy content do you want. Do you want 5 paragraphs, 5 words, 5 bytes, 5 lists? You can change the number as well. Let's go for 2 paragraphs and generate. So this will give you 2 paragraphs worth of dummy content, which you can just copy and paste. Okay. This is also available as an extension in VS Code. So if you want to use it like that, you can use it as well, but this is what we have. Okay, so I'll also quickly add them to the repository. I will give you 5 minutes to check these out. Okay, because I also need to break the fast as well. So I'll just call it resources.txt and I'll just mention them here quickly. So for color palette, so we have https://www.color.co. Okay. Then the next one is for icons. So that's https://www.flaticon.com. Okay. Then we have images. So that's https://www.unsplash.com. Okay. And then we have vectors, prepic.com. Okay. And then we have dummy content, dummy text generator. Okay, Libsyn.com. I hope I have covered everything. I hope I did not miss out on anything. But yes, so this is everything that you can check out. There are a few more things that I want to share with you regarding project itself. Let's do that once we come back from a quick break. So again, it is available in the repository. I will also add a direct link to that file in the chat. Okay, so that you can go through that and you can then, just check these out, check these resources out. I'll just come back in a few minutes and we'll continue. I've also added the same in YouTube chat as well. So basically it's very simple. Just go to the repository and it is the last file in that repository. It's called resources.txt, available directly in the repository. So check these out. I'll come back in 5 minutes and we'll continue from there. Okay, yes, we are back. Yes, so regarding, so some people are saying that you're not getting the session links in the mail. Let me check this with the team. I will check and let them know that this issue is happening and we'll take care of it. So don't worry if you're not getting session links in your email, I'll let them know and that will be fixed. Okay. Perfect. So right now, what I have done is I have shared a couple of resources with you. They are also added to this file, which is again, I've added all the links. The file is already in the repository. There are two more things that I'll quickly tell you, and then we'll discuss that authentication part. Okay. So the very first thing that I'm good, so both of these are options for the same thing. And the reason why I'm sharing these again is considering the fact that you might not have design experience beforehand, and you might look at or you might need some references for layouts or designs. So that is why I'm sharing this one. And then there is another one which is for diagrams. I'll show that to you as well. So this one is called dribble.com. So that's DRI triple B. Okay, DRI triple B dribble.com. And this one, as you can see, is basically a platform where UI UX designers upload their portfolio. Okay, so what we can do is we can go ahead and search for a design. Let us say, again, to keep it standard, just an example, we search for an e-commerce store. Okay, so as soon as you search for an e-commerce store, you will notice that there are some really nice looking wireframes that show up. So for example, if I open this one up, you can see this design has 4 different sections that they are showing us. Okay. So for example, this is the header section. Okay. Then this is the, let's say this is about us or some description section. This is the product section, etc., etc. So there are some different sections available over here. This is actually a pretty fancy design. We can also find something, simpler, because implementing this itself will take a lot of time. So what we can do is we can look for alternatives. So you can check this one out, for example, right? So this is again a simple of, a much simpler design overall. You can see the latest gadgets, there's a slider, then these are two boxes about it, then there are some filters over here, right? So there are some of these, designs, and you can see there are multiple images uploaded as well, different pages, etc. You can also find similar items, right? And you can also find more detailed designs as well. So again, for example, this one is a more detailed design for the same. So again, you can find some really, really good looking websites design wise. I'm not talking about, you can see this is a full page, right? This is an entire page. So when you're looking at references, okay, when you are looking at, okay, this is what our project needs to contain, you can go to this website to find some design references. You can just take screenshots and try to use them. I'm not saying copy the design as it is. I'm just saying use it as a reference. Okay. So you will be able to figure out how can you arrange your things, how can you put things out, right? So you can just find some really nice looking wireframes on this one. Okay. So this is dribble.com. Okay. Some designs will be single page, some designs will be multi-page. You can spend a few minutes on this and find a decent reference. Okay. Finally, in the report, you might be required to create some flowcharts. Let us say to explain the system functionality. Let us say that there's some diagram that you want to draw. For that, there is a resource called draw.io. So basically, this is the link app.diagrams.net, but you can access them through draw.io. I will say create new diagram. And over here, you will find a lot of templates. So again, if you're creating those UI UX diagrams, you will find a sequence diagram example template. You will find a class diagram template, entity relationship diagram template. Okay, you can find some UML templates. You can see these are available. If you're trying to create a custom flowchart, let us say you want to explain the system flow, something like that. So a lot of those flowcharts are also available. Okay, so there are so many templates, as you can see here. Okay, there are so many templates. and you can pick whatever you want, and it will give you some templates as well. So there are flowcharts, maps, other. Okay, so these are, stuff like explanations, flowcharts, modules, your project modules, things like that. So all of those are available. Just pick one, okay, and you can save it directly on your system itself. I'll just call it module, for example. So you can see this shows up, and then I can go ahead and I can make changes to this. Okay. So it's a really good resource. You can change anything. You can add new shapes to it, delete the content, right? Make changes to it. All these diagrams are available on the left-hand side. You can just pick what you want and add them to your code or to your flowchart. So this is draw.io or app.diagrams.net. Okay. So these are all the resources you will need. I don't think you will need anything other than what I have shown you, right? So I'll quickly add these two to the document as well so that everything stays in sync. So diagrams, sketch diagrams. Okay. So this is draw.io. It'll automatically redirect you to this one. Okay. And then for wireframe, you can check out dribble dot. Now there are alternatives to everything. Let me also be very clear for that on that. I have shown you things, or I have shared things that I personally like or I personally use on a daily basis. Okay. But there are alternatives to all of these. For example, to find images online, there are dozens of other platforms. I personally find the images on Unsplash best. Okay. Similarly, for icons, there are so many other resources, but I find the icon on Flat Icon pretty good. So I have just shared my preferences, the resources I use on a daily basis. You can find other alternatives and you're free to use those as well. Okay. It is not that you have to choose what I am telling you. I am just helping you out with references. You can choose whichever one you want. Okay. So yes, everything is now updated in the repository as well. Again, the references are there. The abstract sample is there. Project report is there, right? Then submission details are there. Netlify link is there. Recordings are there. All code examples are there. I think everything that you need is now available in one place for you, right? Finally, coming to Bootstrap. So this is the final thing that I will show you. You have a couple of ready-made templates available in Bootstrap as well. So the first thing, of course, is you can go to docs. Over there, we have already seen components. So we can find these components, right? These are already available and we have seen how to use it as well. So if we go to navbar, for example, we can get the code for this navbar directly from here and all of that. But in addition to this, if you go to examples, which is the second option in the menu, you can find some ready to use examples as well. For example, if you want header, you have these several different options for headers that are available. Okay. So these are some options. As you can see, some of them contain drop down, some of them don't, some of them contain icons, some of them don't. So there are a lot of resources. Okay. Now, similarly, we have another option called, let's say, features. So in features, you can see we have 4 or 5 different designs. And this code we can directly get. Okay, we can get this ready-made HTML code along with Bootstrap styling. And you can see this one's really, really nice. And this one is really nice in terms of the look and feel. And of course, we can customize everything. We can change the image, we can change the text, we can change everything. And then this is an icon grid. This is a left and right side separation, right? And these are all fully responsive. So if we switch to the mobile view, right? If I go to the mobile view, then you can see they are fully responsive. They will automatically respond to the screen size. So depending on which screen you open them on, they will automatically be responsive, right? So again, these are some really nice looking things that we can use, right? So these are available via Bootstrap. Close this off. There we go. Yes. So again, this is Bootstrap, right? And similarly, you have a ready-made pages as well. So for example, if you see here, right, there is an example of carousel that's available. So this is a ready-to-use slider. There are some details you can see. It's a full-blown web page. So all of these things are also available. as Bootstrap examples. So to get this, what you need to do is just click on this one button, download examples. That's it. This will give you all the code within a zip file. Okay. So if I save it to downloads, for example, I can then go ahead and extract it, and then we can open it up in VS Code. So let me just open it up in VS Code. Right. So I'll just drag it and drop it over here, and this should open it up. And you can see now we have everything. Okay. So if we are looking at the headers, for example, that should be available in heroes. There you go, headers. Right. So there is an index.html which contains all the header and also the CSS. If I just open this up in the browser, you will see all these headers are now available for me to use. Okay, so my browser is set to dark mode. You can always switch it to light mode and check it out. Similarly, if you want to access those, footers, for example, or that feature section, everything is directly available. You can just copy it properly. Okay. So again, you have to be smart in the sense that you should copy things properly. And as long as you are able to understand what is going on in your code, everything will be good. Okay. So again, these are yes, Sunil, Canva does provide these resources, but the free things on Canva are not as good. The premium items in Canva are really nice. I use Canva every day, for creating all the social media content. But I find that the free items available in Canva are usually not as good as the other resources. But yes, Canva is a good option in case you are looking at different things in the same platform. You can use Canva as well, right? But yes, like I said, I am just sharing what I use on a daily basis. So I think these are good options. And for people who are asking the topic name they is, let show you that as well. It is this one, project 3, full stack project 3. This is the topic name for today. Okay. The final thing that I want to show you is the authentication part. So I'll just show you a library or a plugin that we use for this, and you can find all the ready-made code over there itself. Okay. So this thing is called Passport.js. Okay. Passport.js. So like the name suggests, Passport.js. Yes. So Sunil, if you pay, then yes, definitely, right? If you use a paid version, it is really good, but that requires payment and I can't ask you to pay. So yes, I suggest free platforms, right? Coming to Passport.js, so Passport.js is basically a very popular package that developers use, right, for authentication, and it contains everything, all the way from a simple email password-based authentication to log in with Facebook, log in with Google, log in with GitHub, log in with anything you can think of. It will support everything. Right? Mobile number, OTP, social login, everything will be supported. So we can go to view all strategies. And here you will notice there are so many options, right? So this one, Google is the one with Google Passport. Facebook is the one with Facebook. Then there's one for Twitter. If you're looking at the JSON web token, then that is available here as well, right? So again, you have step-by-step instructions. So npm install, then configure this, and then there is ready-made code for everything available over here. Okay. So what you really have to do basically is just follow these steps and copy paste the code. Okay. So this is the reference for that, passportjs.org. In a similar way, if we go check another strategy out, so this local one, this is for username and password, right? So you can see this is where we take the username and password, and this is MongoDB logic, user.find1. This is all MongoDB logic, right? So you can just make sure that you're using the code. Again, the login route is given to us, right? The examples are also given. So if you go to examples, it will, take you to the GitHub repository, and you can find all the examples over there as well. So there are so many options that are there. And this is the ultimate resource that you will ever need for authentication. Okay. So it contains over 500 different types of logins, right? And we typically either use local, you can see the featured one. So we typically just use one of them, right? So either we will use JWT local or one of these social media ones. Okay. So this is your resource for authentication, right? So yes, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to share with you guys. Now, again, the last 10 minutes are for you to ask questions, and we'll follow a similar pattern in all the next upcoming sessions as well. So somebody's asking for the abstract sample. Again, I am really, I'm tired of sharing these links individually when everything is available under one link. So please, you guys just go to this link and you can find everything over there, right? I am telling you, you just need one link. Everything is available within that. So please save this link that I have put in the chat now, and you can please, use it. Okay. Again, to recap one more time before I take up further questions, there are resources that I have added. Everything is available in the repository itself, especially the references. Okay. So these videos are curated for you guys itself, right? It is optional, Uday. You can choose any one of these techniques. We typically either use local or JWT, one of the two. If your project requires login with Google, etc., you can use those. But typically, you will either use JWT or local, one of the two, and you should be good. Okay. Um, yes. So, like I was saying, right, these are really important. So make sure you go through this. Okay. And make sure you check these out, because again, this will help you recall everything, and then you will be able to properly set up your project. I will be adding one more link over here, which is going to be for deployment, or which is going to be deployment demo. So I will add that tomorrow. Okay. So you can check that out tomorrow as well. So I'll add it under here, a fourth video. Okay. And that way you will have everything that you need. And like I said, these are a little longer. So approximately, these are 30 minutes long each. You can see the first one is 30 minutes. This one's 29 minutes. This one's 34 minutes. So I've explained everything step by step properly, right? All the way from setting it from scratch to, uh, you know, creating the whole project, running it, testing it, everything is explained. So yes, I know you already know these concepts, but this is a quick refresher for you. It's not something new. These are things that you already know. Okay, perfect. So you can check these out, right? And yes, that's basically it. Now I am coming to the questions one by one, and I'll answer them. So if you have any doubts or questions, please put them in the chat. It could be either on Zoom or YouTube Live. I have both open right now. Somebody is asking for assignment links. The assignment links are available at the end in the same repository. So you can see the first one is HTML, CSS, then JavaScript, and then 2 assignments on React. These are the 4 assignments that I was told to share. So the links are available in the repository itself. Please take it from there. Any other assignments in addition to this might have been sent to your emails. So please get the links from there. Regarding the team leaders meetings, again, we are still waiting to finalize the teams. Once that happens, we'll contact you guys and we'll tell you when the meet is supposed to happen. What link do you want? Asia, right? Sheikh Asia. Which link do you want? Please let me know. Because abstract link for the platform will come from the team. I don't have it with me. I have a sample abstract link which you can refer to. The submission link will be sent on your email. So please check your email for that. Okay. Uh, yes, Rahul, it is important to use all 3 things in your projects. There has to be a front end, there has to be a back end, and there has to be a database. So all 3 things must be there. Sandeep, so this is from YouTube Live. Sandeep is saying that the abstract link was working only once and it is not working now. So again, the team is looking into it and we'll send it again. The abstract links will be sent to your emails again. The deadline, I think, has been extended till the 1st of April, which is till Monday. So expect another link on your email, and please make sure to fill it properly once you get it. Again, so the same answer is for you also, Shaktija. This is also from YouTube Live. Yes, so once you get the abstract link again, please submit it. It will be sent shortly. Jyotsna is saying React assignment, one link is not working. Other assignment links might probably not be working because the deadlines are done. Right? Remember, I told you the assignments have deadlines. So I think that since the deadlines are completed, right, I think that is why you are not able to, right, basically submit. So that could be a reason why links are not working. The assignment deadline might have already passed. The team members and lead are different abstracts. So again, Kanika, I've told you so many times, please submit the same abstract, please submit the same abstract, please submit the same abstract. So I don't know now if you've submitted different abstract, it is up to the team to approve it. So if they find it similar, they will approve it. If they reject it, you will have to submit it again. But I was very, very specific. I am repeating this in every session. Please submit same thing, please submit same thing. So I don't know. It's up to the team to decide. So I can't really answer that question. So if the team has mentioned that you have a team leaders meeting after the session, then you'll get the joining link also on the WhatsApp group itself, right? So where you were informed that the team leaders meeting is there, in the same place, you will also get the link to join. So again, like I've already said, I am looking at 2 features per person. Okay. So again, 2 features per person. So if you are a member of 3, if you have 3 team members, 6 features, 4 team members, 8 features, 5 team members, 10 features, and so on and so on. Okay? So minimum of 2 features per person. I'm skipping all the repeated questions. So Rajesh, I've already answered the question. Yes, once you receive the abstract link again, please submit it again. Okay. I've already answered that twice. This is the third time I'm answering it. But yes, once you receive another link, please submit it then. Okay. And done. I will add the final code. Okay. I'll also add a sample authentication code as well. So like a sample code for authentication also, I will add it to the repository. So you have access to that as well. Okay. And yes, I think that is it for this particular session. So technically, as per the timelines, this is the last session that we were supposed to have, right, before the project. So I hope that I was able to give you enough knowledge in terms of technologies that you will now be able to build the project in terms of, again, just core technology I am talking about, not abstracts and topics, but in terms of technologies. I hope that I was able to explain things enough, right? So that you can now create the projects. And yes, I think that's basically what we are looking at. Like I said, from Monday onwards, we are going to start off with revision sessions, right? And we'll start on the very first session, which is very first topic, which was HTML, and we'll just go through the whole thing all over again. So please make sure you do attend them. And like I said, if you have any doubts or issues regarding your projects, whatever you are working on, first try to check the references that are already given to you, right? So I've given you all the the code snippets, I've given you all the resources, I've given you video references. So try to solve the problem on your own if possible. And if not, then you can definitely let me know in the last 10-15 minutes of the session. Okay. So I will definitely be available, right? I'll keep the last 10-15 minutes for every session free, so that you can ask questions. Okay. So I'll give you access to mic or screen share. You can tell me what the issue is and I can help you out. So that will happen from Monday onwards. We start with our revision. Okay. And yes, that's basically it for this one. The team will just send the feedback links in the chat as well. In the meanwhile, if you have any doubts or issues, let me know in the chat. And yeah, so just wait for the feedback links. Just a minute. They are being shared. Make sure you fill the feedback in and then you are free to go. The last date for the project is April end, right? So April last week, ideally, will be the last date. So typically you get 1 month, the month of April, to work on the projects. Okay. So yes, that's basically, what we have in terms of what's coming up in the next couple of sessions. So we'll have, again, similarly, just like we have 3 sessions a week, we'll still have 3 sessions a week in April also. The only difference is instead of 24 sessions, we only have 12. So we'll try to revise everything with smaller mini projects, in the month of April. Okay. So yes, that's it from my side. Thank you so much, you guys, for attending. I'm just waiting for the feedback link. It will be shared in just a minute. So fill that in and then you can um, drop off. So yes, I think I'll see you guys on Monday then, and we'll start with a revision. So yes, there we go. The feedback links are now shared on both Zoom as well as on YouTube, right? So like I've been saying, we have classes continued from Monday itself, which will be revision sessions. So those are classes that you have to attend. Okay. And yes, so I'll see you guys in the next one, which is on Monday. So great. Thank you so much guys for attending. Make sure you get the whole project abstract thing sorted out, submit it as soon as you can, and let's start working on it from the next week. So yes, have a great weekend. See you guys on Monday.